Hello and welcome, I'm Megan Harney, and apparently I'm doing a series of pre-K homeschooling curriculum. So I say apparently because that's not exactly what I had planned when I set out to make these videos, but now I've got a series, and today is the second part of our flip-throughs, and that is our Sonlight pre-K curriculum. So this is Exploring God's World from Sonlight, and I hope you'll enjoy this flip-through of all the different books, all the different pieces that go with our Sonlight curriculum. So next up we have Sonlight, and this is their pre-K. It's Exploring God's World, which is for, it says P4 and 5, so basically 4 and 5-year-olds, which is just before they get to kindergarten. Some people actually use this as their kindergarten curriculum, and I think that would work out just fine too. Sonlight is really flexible with their ages. So Sonlight changes their curriculum pretty frequently, just adding new books, taking out books that are out of print, things like that. So this is not the current version of Sonlight pre-K, but you can get a pretty good idea of what it's like. They don't typically revolutionize the whole set. If you get P4-5, if you get Exploring God's World, whatever the current version is, it's likely to look quite a bit like this. So in the beginning you'll have a book list, and I also want to mention I bought this used for about $100, the whole set. So really look on Facebook Marketplace and things if you're on a tight budget. If you want the newest version and all brand new books, then by all means buy it new from Sonlight. But if you're okay with an older version and you just want quality literature, look for it used, because you might be able to find a really good deal. So this has a section of read alouds. There are readiness skills, which is developing the early learner, and we're actually not going to use those. It didn't come with the set, and I have plenty of other preschool. It's basically workbooks, so I have plenty of other workbooks, so I'm not going to worry about those. And then it's got some language arts, which is Dr. Seuss's ABCs and the first 1,000 words. And then here's a whole list of science books, which picture books are my #1 favorite way to teach science right now, along with a few experiments here and there. We love the KiwiCo crates, different Kiwi crates to teach different science concepts, but I don't have a really big focus on science. So picture book science, that's perfect for me. And then we've got world cultures. So that's going to be your history and social studies, basically. So I love all the things that this includes, and it's all things that I don't really want a textbook for, especially not for preschool or kindergarten, but things I love to learn about through picture books. So I'm just going to walk you through basically a week and then show you a few books. So again, this looks like a lot, but it's really not that much. You need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, or that's a developing early learner. So just 4 books. We keep the books that we're reading currently kind of out on a shelf in the middle of our living room where we do reading time, and the rest of them are put away on a shelf. And then whenever you get done with one book, you kind of rotate them, so you don't have to have everything out all at one time. So on this first day, we don't do the verse, we do kind of our own Bible verses, but you could read the Bible and do memory verse. We do that all together with my 2nd grader. So we would read 1 rhyme from Mother Goose, a story from the Lion Storyteller bedtime book, 1 little poem from Animals, which is wonderful, by the way, and 1 section, 1 little page of Berenstain Bears' Big Book of Science and Nature. So it's so simple. I can't even tell you. I looked at this last time and I thought, oh, that's going to be so much reading. I'll never keep his attention for that long, but it's not a problem. They love looking through these. So, and it goes through that every day. You've got about 4 to 5 things to do. Fridays are usually lighter, and it has extra things that you can do with it if you want to. These remind me of like a 5 in a row curriculum, if you've ever looked at that. Just different activities with the picture books that you're reading. And then the next week, it'll tell you the same thing, tell you exactly what to read. And I usually copy these at the beginning of the year into my planner so that I know when we sit down, because my daughter's doing this as well, so when we sit down, we read through all of our Sonlight stuff kind of all together. We might break it up into a couple of different sections, but more or less, I have it all written in one place. I don't have to flip through 3 different things in order to figure out what we're doing for that week. Okay, let me show you some of the books. Here is Science. So Why Do Tigers Have Stripes? Which is an Usborne book. If you've ever done Usborne books, they all have very similar kind of layouts. Here's that one, and then What's Under the Sea is a very similar layout. And it's just bite-sized little snippets. They love looking at the pictures. They love finding out all of these things. And you'll be surprised at what they retain. Not everything, but every once in a while they'll come back with like, Mom, did you know that divers use metal detectors to find coins and other metal things? Like, they'll just pull it out of nowhere and you'll be like, where did you learn that? Oh yeah, I taught you that. What's Smaller Than a Pygmy Shrew? This is from the Wells of Knowledge Science series, and it has a couple of these books in here too. And this is more of a picture book style. But just fun. Fun for preschool, fun for kindergartners. And then the same kind of thing. Is a blue whale the biggest thing there is? How do you lift a lion? Just questions they might ask and clever ways to answer those. And then the other science book is Big Book of Science and Nature, which features the Berenstain Bears, and it's like the Berenstain Bears walk through all the different science concepts. So, some things winter brings. This is all about weather, and they love looking at the pictures and finding new things. It talks about February, but this is the thing, like, here's a book that if I were just to read it straight, it would talk about Valentine's Day, and then spring, more spring, and then go right on to April Fool's Day. But with Sonlight, they'll have it lined out, so you talk about each thing right when it's supposed to happen. I don't have to guess, I don't have to go searching. It's all laid out for me perfectly. Here's more things. I'm just going to do a little bit more flip through this so you can see. Lots of animals. I went to underwater. Natural Earth, geography, science fair. Here's science experiments, machines, levers. That's fun. It presents the whole thing in story format, which I really appreciate. So that's Berenstain Bears, Big Book of Science and Nature. Then for language arts, we've got Dr. Seuss's ABCs and First 1,000 Words, which I have somewhere else. That is another Usborne book that has pictures, words, all grouped into different categories. So there's like a school category where you read everything that you would find at school, maybe a forest category, and there are a bunch of words that have to do with the forest, all helping with their language development. So here are some world culture things. We have the Children's Book of Virtue, which has short little stories. Little Hero of Holland. Tortoise and the Hare. Stars in the Sky. Beautiful illustrations. I really love the illustrations in this book. So Things People Do is a really fun book that I think I might get in trouble for this saying this, but especially boys really like looking through this book, I've noticed. Ellie likes some of the more story-based books. My son loves looking through these books to just find all the little things. So this is based on the island of Manila, and you're gonna find out all the workers who are working on the island: fisherman, builder, hotel manager, school teacher, baker. But the thing that makes this really intriguing is all the details. So you can look through this picture and find out all different kinds of things in each of these places. Look at all the little surprises that you can find in here. Somebody's thinking about sheep, and there's a milk truck coming, and this is where they're milking the cows, and so many different things to discover and especially ask questions about. My kids love asking questions, and there are a million things to ask questions about. But I also love, you're only looking at one of these pages a day. You're not going through the whole book. It's not going to take you 3 hours to sit down and answer all of their questions. You just hit on one of these pages, and then you can really dive deep into it, and you do have time and energy to answer all of their questions. So I love this kind of book. Then and Now, it shows the difference between a shop in the old days and a shop now in the supermarket, and it has all the different places that you would find and what's different about them in the past and currently. In the drawing room, family room, the bedroom, schoolroom, country, seaside, smithy, and the garage, because we don't have a smithy. But this, again, it's so many details to find, so many questions to ask, and you're just reading through one page a day. The Year at Maple Hill Farm is another science book actually. And it goes through weather. You're talking about a farm and everything that happens on the farm in the winter, everything that happens in the spring, and then what happens in the summer on this kind of fictional farm. It's beautiful. This people book is a really great way to introduce them to people who are different than them. They might, encounter people who have different eye colors, different skin colors, but it's a kind of a unity book of we all look different, we all dress different, we all act different, but we are all humans. And you can segue that into, we're all loved by God, and God created each of us, and He created us to be different because that is beautiful. But I love how it talks about everybody's different. Holidays, how cool is that you get to talk about Bastille Day, Chinese New Year, Queen's birthday in England, different kinds of pets that you keep. Just talks about the ways that people are different. Beautiful. And then we have A Child's Book of Art, which is an interesting book because it doesn't have a lot of words. It doesn't explain a lot about the art necessarily, but it has these really big pictures that kids can see a lot of details about, and they're all grouped into sections. So this is different ways that artists interpret the home or paint the home, different things in the garden, but look how big that picture is. A young child can really look at this, check out the details, see the way the different brush strokes are. I love that this picture has the big picture, and then it really points out the different things that they're doing: fetching water, playing music, picking fruit, and reading. And the child then can look at this picture and find it in the big picture. And that's just another interesting activity for them to do while they're reading. Different ways artists depict their pets, animals on the farm, wild animals. I love this. Art is one of those things that really makes me excited to teach. So I love introducing beauty in the way of fine art. And we will go to a museum and try to find paintings by these artists or similar artists from that time period, just as a way to be interactive. Matisse, it's one of my favorites. beautiful. I could look at that all day. And then the last two books that we have are just some storybooks that have, I'm just gonna show you how long these stories are so you're not so worried. So here's story 2, Uncle Wiggily and the Freckled Girl. And these would make really great bedtime books. There you go, just a few pages. It's not really long and drawn out. They're short chapters, they're engaging books, they're funny. That's a big thing. They're really funny books that kids will enjoy reading about. Here's the map of the village of Millie, Molly, Mandy. This one has a few pictures in it, black and white. Millie, Molly, Mandy goes to a party. And these are characters, Uncle Wiggily, Millie, Molly, Mandy, these are characters that preschoolers will fall in love with, for sure. So that is the end of Sonlight. Thank you for joining us to look through Sonlight. If you have any questions about how we use it or how it's going, because we're going to start really soon, and I've never used this curriculum before, I'm really excited to get started. That's not true. I've never used pre-K before. I've used kinder and first, and now we're going to start second this year as well. But I'm really excited about this pre-K curriculum. So if you want to know kind of an update about how we like it as compared to other levels, I'd be happy to share that. But just ask away in the comments and we'll chat. So I'll talk to you later.